Well, the story behind how the dome came to be is kind of interesting, actually. I had bought this property a year ago, and I had just gotten my driveway and my house pad bulldozed, and I was trying to figure out what kind of structure, what kind of house I wanted to build. And I was going to build just a conventional wooden home. And the way the dome came about was I ran into Clay one day down in KO. I said, hey, how's it going, Clay? Haven't seen you in a while. He's like, oh, Dave, I just took this workshop learning how to build these Aircrete domes, which I had never heard of. Aircrete, having a dome had never really even crossed my mind as far as having it as a house. And the moment I heard about it, I was instantly intrigued. And so I told Clay I would think about the idea. And about an hour later, I called him up. I said, Clay, come over here, build me a dome. And the rest is kind of history after that.
The whole building is concrete. There's not anything but concrete and sand in the building and some acrylic mix. And the Aircrete process is more about, if you can make foam out of dish soap and mix it with your concrete, it creates a foamy, like shaving cream type consistency that I put into forms to get my bricks the shape and size that I want them without any issues. Benefits that I can think of for a dome: just longevity, no maintenance, no bugs. You don't really have to replace or worry about anything if you have a dome. It's really amazing. I mean, it doesn't seem like anything that's even been available before the last few years. The bottles and things, I just went to the dump and was getting them out of the recycle. It was the non-refundable recycle, and they would just get full of bottles, and I would go through and find the ones that looked thick and would project light, and there's all kinds of neat bottles. The blue Bud Ice bottles are really nice. Well, all the bottles were free. Some of them are antique bottles that we did pay more for, hand-blown ones with bubbles in them, that some of them were difficult to cut. And that's the other thing about these bottles that are interesting, is like they are cut in half instead of full bottles.
At one point, I had less than $17 here. This was maybe 4 years ago. And I got real lucky. I got a really great job on Maui, where I made some good money. I worked at one point up to 3 jobs on Maui. I lived in my car over there. I was working between 12 to 14 hours a day, 6 to 7 days a week, to be able to afford the land. So it's doable, and if you really want it bad enough, anyone can do it. You just got to put the time in, put the work in, and you can follow your dreams, man. It's totally possible. You just got to put the work in and dedicate yourself, and that's really all there is to it. So it's kind of a beautiful story how I got this particular piece of land and how I was able to build this dome. I bought this piece of property when I was living on Maui, and it was well below market value. And 4 other offers were put in on it, and so I never thought I was going to get it. And I got a phone call from the real estate agent saying that everyone else had backed out on this particular piece of property, and I was the only one left in contention. And so he asked me if I wanted it, and so I jumped on it and said, yeah, of course I'll take it. And I thought there was something seriously wrong with the property, because it was listed about $10,000 below what the other prices were listed at in this particular neighborhood. And it turns out there was nothing wrong with it. And the day I had to write the final check for this piece of land, it was $13,500, and I had $13,502 total in my bank account. So I had $2 more than I needed to buy the piece of land. And so after I wrote that final check, I had to live on $2 for about a week, which was interesting. But it's like everything just kind of came together, and kind of like my life here in Hawaii. It's been a very interesting journey. Like one thing has led me to the next, and I seem to get all these kind of lucky breaks. Like everything is just kind of meant to be, you know. And same can be said with the dome. It just everything, all the pieces just kind of fell into place. And so yeah, the dome is part of my story too now. So yeah, like I said, it's been an amazing, beautiful, long journey, and I'm very proud to say that I'm a homeowner now.
It just really made sense to me as far as weather, and actually as a canvas to do art on is the most interesting thing to me, and to make just really imaginative homes that are safe. When I took the class, I was working with 15, 20 people, and they go fast when you have a bunch of people like that. And it even looks like it would be that easy to do it yourself with another person or so, but it's really not like that. I thought I was gonna build this in a couple of months. So it wound up taking a year instead of a couple of months. I have to drive 3 miles up pretty much a riverbed to get here. So it's been an intense project. If I were building it on my property where I didn't have to drive the bricks and do the commuting, I would think one person could build their own in 4 months. Started doing some quick sketches, and I have a bit of influence from being in Peru and staying down there for a while, and I like their art. And I did this drawing really quick, and it looked like a sound pattern radiating out. And then and I had some that did a zigzag, or there was a bunch of ways to do it. Some of them were just way too busy, but this one seemed to be a little more controlled, and because if I had to have something to go with on a pattern, to just put bottles in randomly seemed a lot more complicated than holding a pattern for me. So I came up with this pattern, and then the more I looked at it and saw it developing, the more it looked like a God's eye or something in the wall. There's no one to call and ask questions about the process. It's such a new process that you kind of have to trust your own instinct with it, or your own knowledge. And for me, it was coming in dreams, and I was having dreams about how to do mixes and how to do processes, and dreams that was pushing me to come up here another day and just keep pushing through, stacking bricks. The Aircrete, if you watch the videos and things, it seems to have a tendency to be kind of crumbly. And if your process isn't right, it's hard to shape the bricks and cut the bricks without them breaking when you cut them. So in my dreams, I was making mixes and doing stuff, and I noticed that I was mixing in stuff, and I asked what I was doing in the dream, and a voice told me that I was mixing in sand and some other ingredients. And so then I started doing that, and then I started adding hemp and fiber glass hairs to it, and I came up with some really nice strong bricks that are easy to cut. And I trust the brick more now, and the process.
I slept in my car pretty much the entire time while the house is being built, which is nothing new for me. I've been sleeping in my car for quite a while here. About over 3 years I've been sleeping in my car, and before that, like a tent for about 1.5 years. So I'm really excited to have a house now. I've been houseless here in Hawaii for, like I said, almost 5 years. So for me to have an actual structure, for me to sleep in a bed again, to have a normal kind of existence is a really big deal for me. I've been working towards this goal for, gosh, almost 4 years now. I wanted to be a landowner here in Hawaii and a homeowner, and so very lucky to have all of this. So, but it's been a long journey, but it's also been a beautiful journey at the same time.